What's up, ATG fam? We're gonna have some fun here because we're gonna take the scariest part of the ATG system, the Nordic, and take the scare out of it. Now look, if you get the thickest thing you have to pad your knees and then find the grippiest wall and the grippiest shoes you have, and you actually just lean forward until you feel those hamstrings contract and hold that position for 60 seconds, you will feel those hamstrings turn on. So right off the bat, you can start addressing this. Why rush it? Why force it if we know that we have the tools to get to world-class hamstrings as they flex the knee, okay? Because we have other exercises like Romanian deadlifts that work more of this attachment, okay? We're talking about at the knee joint. Why rush it, right? So right here, holding that for 60 seconds can work. You can even, depending on how grippy it is, you could get a bit of a fight down and feel those hamstrings turn on. So in zero, first time through base zero, there is no mandatory knee flexion, okay? Because for a lot of people, until we get these knees and these patellar tendons making some gains, this position can just be too tweaky because of the tug in there on the tendons and ligaments. So first off, there's no pressure even to start this, but once you get to dense, if you had no setup, if you were scared to set up a Nordic, if it looked too intense, boom, just feel it turn on for 60 seconds. That's it, just on Mondays, okay? Now I'd like you to do 5 sets of 5, fighting down. And again, this is like self-limiting. You can't get that much force because your feet will slide if you try to. Now, you could have a partner hold your heels down. You could get the Mr. Infinity Nordic strap to turn a bench into a Nordic. But if you have a power rack, we're gonna jump over here and take a look at how that can actually, with a power rack alone, progress us all the way through the Nordic system in ATG. So now with the basic squat rack, I can do the entire rest of the ATG Nordic system. I've loaded it with the bar on the other side of me so that it pulls this way with more than I weigh. I've put a towel here and my foot is not flexed out that way because when you don't have something to press the ball of the foot into, it can get really crampy. That's another reason a lot of people give up on Nordic. So I have my foot dorsiflexed like that. Now again, with plenty of padding, with that weight on the other side, this is a basic rack, not some heavy duty rack. The way the leverages are, boom, it can handle my full force. So in dense, you can get everything with your own body weight, full force. You can get to super high levels with that 5 sets of 5 in 5 minutes working on the way down. And I wouldn't even stop someone if for some reason they felt like that wasn't enough a challenge. This is an open-ended exercise, meaning you could hold weights and basically have infinite challenge. Now, working the way down, I think, is the most important part, but going from dense, working the way down, to then going to standards, we're still gonna work the way down, 5 sets of 5, but we're also gonna work the way up. And I think that taps into some more gains, and it's one of the reasons I help so many people really transform this quality, because it doesn't just end with working the way down. I think we get a plateau busting effect by working the way up. Now this is really open-ended to how easy you could make it by elevating the hips. We're copying the form of Marty St. Louis, who was one of the greatest longevity cases, meaning he was 35, leading the NHL in scoring out of 25 NHL players in his gym. His trainer said he was the only one who could contract the glutes and then keep the shoulder above the hip, contract, boom, and go back up. Now, doing this now from here would be like the goal. Depending on your setup, it's really gonna vary. So this is still a very personal thing, but I'm now working, fighting on the way down, resetting, and then exploding through those glutes and pulling up. I guess with this setup, you know, I'm used to using that Nordic bench. I guess this would make the most sense. So like a flat setup would be pretty tough. This, you also notice this is kind of set a little bit higher. So you have these various factors. Find the point that feels best. Work that way down. Elevate the hips, get into that motion. Trust me, it's gonna cause adaptation and you're still fighting the way down. Now, we've looked at fighting the way down. We've looked at working the way up and down. Once you're doing that easy, if you wanna mix it up, and all I look for here is the angle between the shin and the thigh. And I'm looking to get that to break. If this is a 90-degree angle, I'm looking to get that to break a 45-degree angle. So now I'm holding it, holding that tension. Again, a lot of different factors. I noticed when I started, much easier now. I'm like slipping with sweat, but it's the same thing. I can challenge myself, for myself, put that tension, and then pull back up. But you can see that if you didn't have some strength on the way down, if you didn't have some strength on the way up, that levitating style might be kind of worthless. You might not be able to get much motion into it. So I would rank them in that order. I would say the way down is the most important. Then keeping the way down while adding the way up would be second most important. And then having fun mixing it up with that levitating style would be third most. So I'm now back on zero, doing advanced zero. So for my hamstring step on Monday, I'm working the Nordic. And I'm doing 25 reps. It's open-ended. I could take breaks, whatever. I'm getting done 25 reps. I could even start by working eccentrics, then decide to mix it up. Trust me, just 25 actually fighting could be life-changing for protecting your knees, for potentiating speed and one-foot jumping, because this relates most to these horizontal movements, okay? So there you go. I can't wait for tomorrow's session. Monday, I'm going to be able to work this however I want. But knowing these 3 levels, knowing the different paddings and setups, I can just guarantee myself a high quality workout. So I hope this helps you to understand that the Nordic doesn't have to be something we fear. If there's anything to fear, it would be being weak and vulnerable, because the Nordic, if we look, like this position is easy, right? So as we go out, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher, and that is pulling the same way, okay? Attaching from the back of the thigh to the front of the shin bone. That's how the ACL attaches. So a lot of physiotherapists have told me this is their favorite movement to bulletproof the ACL. So I don't recommend training it more than once a week. And I recommend understanding it in terms of those 3 levels. Never working through pain or tweaking this. It should be comfortable, it should feel good, you should get a result, but now you do have levels so you could keep pushing yourself and see what your true athletic potential could be as well.